Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today in this episode where we're going to be discussing the idea of isolation in modern day society. The reason I've decided to pick this topic today is because I've been kind of observing what's been going on with the consistent reports of people being hurt or hurting themselves, people doing things that usually, in the good old days, no one ever really heard a lot about. We now live in a society, I worry, that even though we are so connected via technology, but yet we appear to be so disconnected. I can't remember any other time in my history or the history of the times before mine where humanity have been so isolated. People, I suppose, would say the time of COVID was a very difficult time for everyone. Others would say you had technology to rely on. Let's go with this for a moment. So, on a typical day, we've got 24 hours. For the people that work or don't work, something seems to be common in the society we live in. You wake up in the morning and 8 out of 10 people, the first thing they reach out for is the piece of gadget that's usually laying right next to you. For some reason, you've been able to sleep through this and it's been okay, but you just have this fear of you've missed something through the night and it's time to try to catch up. What is it that's happening on Instagram? What is it that's happening on Facebook? Whatever social media platform you're on, that appears to be the time that you want to find out what's going on. We do this again and again and again, and it's now become a crucial part of ourselves. But a lot of the time, this seems to determine the way in which we start our day. I have also found it could go one of two ways. It could be because a sad news has been reported on social media or any of these platforms, or it could be because somebody has posted something that has made you feel rubbish about yourself. Isn't that interesting? Somebody else's post, either because they are in some fancy holiday somewhere, they're in the gym, they are wearing an outfit, they're doing something that you were not part of, you begin to feel a certain way about yourself. The problem also comes in where you don't only just feel that way about yourself, but you take action. You either decide to change the way you want to do certain things. You might then decide, if it's one of those days that you're not working, that you don't want to go out anymore because you're feeling sorry for yourself, for lack of a better word. And can you just see how things instantly begin to spiral? Ahead comes COVID. COVID, what that did for us, I think, was expose the fragility that currently exists within our community. The fact that a lot of us have hidden behind going out for the sake of going out, trying to associate ourselves with people just to act as though we belong. Either we've met these people on social media, or they've been connected to us by other people that we've met in this form as well. True friendship is something that I worry no longer exists. I was listening to something the other day, and I believe it was Jimmy Carr. He was on the Diary of the CEO when they were trying to talk about the man behind the mask. And he made reference to the idea of people having so many friends on social media, but yet have got nobody to talk to. How does that even make sense? People would say, I've got 200,000 followers, but yet they're still isolated. Yet they're still going through so much struggle and difficulties that they do not know who to turn to. How many times have we seen reported that young person decided to do something to themselves just because they felt like they had nobody to talk to? How many times have we seen that celebrity did something to themselves because they had nobody to talk to? How many times have we seen that old person has done something to themselves? This thing seems to have no boundaries when it comes to age, sex, or gender. The common line we seem to have in this is that as a human race, what we've seen to have done to ourselves in our attempt to connect each other, we seem to have disconnected ourselves so much that we don't even know how to repair this anymore. How have we come to this, that we're sitting right next to each other, and the one thing we want to do is pick up our phone and see what everybody else is doing? And yes, we've got everybody in front of us. How has it come to a point where when we're going out for a date, or we're going out with our families, or we're spending time with our kids, the first thing we want to do is see what everybody else is doing? We're isolating ourselves in the middle of interactions with our nearest and dearest. If we can do that with the people that we love and care a great deal about, what about the people that are nowhere near us? Isn't it interesting that our nearest and dearest no longer can sense when we're in trouble? In the past, what used to happen was that our parents, our grandparents, all they needed to do was look at you, look at us, and they'll be able to tell in an instant when something is not right. All they needed to do was hear you speak, and they'll be able to tell that something is not right. All because what they did then was actively listen. They listened with everything about them. They listened by paying attention. Is what you're saying matching the communication that's coming from your body? How many times have we heard people from across the board say, I tried, to talk to my parents. I tried to talk to my teacher. I tried to talk to my friends, but nobody was listening. They were hearing these people, but they weren't actually listening. How do we now feel rejected in the society that we live in? How does that even make sense? The whole idea of living is to be able to form a community, I believe, that will be able to look after each other. Now we are so good at forming a community online, a community that never actually understands us. If you're lucky enough, you'll be checked on once in a while. That's if you're lucky enough. Otherwise, you can disappear, and the only thing that you would hear is, oh, they've not posted for a while. Not really understanding why haven't they? Not checking in to see if you're okay. But because of the distraction that we've got on these platforms, we're easily able to forget about people. Our attention span has become so fiddle that we can't concentrate on more than one thing at a time. We have to constantly chase that next high, not in the sense of drugs, alcohol, or whatever else it is, but that fix of the social platform. My question today is that, how do we change that? In a generation where we're so connected, how have we come to the point that we are even more disconnected than the people that had nothing before our time? In the good old days, what we did was go out there and play with our friends. We went out there and played football. You went out there and went out for a walk. You went out there and interacted with your friends. Just literally sit outside and just talk and just grow and just be one with your community, with your nature, with yourself. Everybody knew everybody. People looked out for each other. People were able to tell whose child that is, whose parent that is, whose auntie that is. Not because they were nosy, but because they fully understood the nature of being one. Now, if somebody attempts to even care about you, the first thing you hear is they're nosy. But that's what a community used to look like. In times of crisis, we resurrected as one and went out to ensure that that crisis was resolved. And in the end, there was this victorious celebration when you've been able to do that. And we celebrated the good times together. How about we consider moving with the times, but also not leaving behind the things that matters, like people? Because without people, how do we function in a world where AI is being introduced if we are not careful, we're going to unintentionally deprive ourselves of the beauty that is in human communication, human interaction, and further isolate ourselves. And what happens when we are isolated? Our minds begin to play tricks on us. We begin to have conversations with ourselves that are not real. And we begin to question our existence to ensure that we're not victims of our own generational progression. It is important that we go back to the drawing board. I am not saying the introduction of AI and other platforms, social media platforms, are bad, but it's about understanding when and where to insert them in our lives. Because only when we do that appropriately are we able to fully enjoy the benefit that comes with having all of this technology in our hands. Let me know what you think about the idea of isolation. Let's hear your thoughts. I am able to overcome this. Are you? I believe that together we can do it. But continually dividing ourselves makes this battle 10 times, 100 times harder. Until next time, people, please continue to look after each other. It has been Kings. Peace. Bye for now.